Hi.
Greetings. We're in chapter 7, and they're taking an awful long time to get going into chapter 7, right?
In the finished mystery.
In the finished mystery. I'm speaking, of course, of Revelation here. They're taking a long time to get into the meat of chapter 7 in Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Well, because they want to make it about them and their uniqueness. And it's easy for us as ex-witnesses even to get bogged down in the page-by-page descriptions here and look at all the wondrous things they had to say back in 1917. And forget that the whole book is about not Charles Taze Russell and his followers, but about the Lamb, who is in the midst of the throne. We remember we met him back in chapter 5, and he's the dominant person in the whole book. 28 references to the Lamb, just the word Lamb. So the book's about him,
Jesus.
but you would think the book was about them. That is specifically about those who dared to be different and follow Charles Taze Russell, who of course was going to die and did die before this book is published. So here we are on page, what is it?
128.
128. This is our 100th video, by the way, on the finished mystery. And we're on page 128. And this is an amazing page, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, you got to hear this. We're going to read the whole thing.
Well, let's read the text first, though, again, to isolate the phrase they want us to be thinking about. And that phrase is, sealed the servants of God. Okay, here's the whole context, verses 1 to 3.
So, after this I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding tight the 4 winds of the earth, so that no wind could blow on the earth, or on the sea, or on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the sunrise, having a seal of the living God, and he called with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees, until after we have sealed the slaves of our God in their foreheads.
They're not even going to deal with in their foreheads yet. That'll be the next page. Let's deal with sealed, the servants of God. Now, what's that all about? I'm going to be using my glass here because my eyes are watering a bit. But here we go into the paragraph, have sealed the servants of our God. Satan is a diligent student of time prophecy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that almost made me laugh.
But not having the Holy Spirit, and interestingly, Holy Spirit here is all capitalized, not like now, he is unable to reach accurate conclusions. Seeing a definite plan, and plan is also capitalized, and a definite time for every important feature of that plan, his aim has ever been to thwart the purposes of the Almighty. This attempt to destroy the seed, and seed is capitalized, began with the death of Abel and still continues. No doubt Satan believed, and believed is in italics, no doubt Satan believed the millennial kingdom was due to be set up in 1915. What?
Yeah.
You didn't believe that. You believed it was 14, and then you changed your mind to 15. And even the edition that was published the year before Russell died, you changed your mind and said it was 15, and made the book, the older books, conformable to that. Like changed the print of the older books so that the 1914 miscalculation would not be evident. So if Satan believes it's 1915, how did that happen? So, and no doubt also Satan knew that 7 years prior to the time of the setting up of that kingdom, the restraints upon the evil spirits would be lifted. So that's 7 years prior to 1915. That would be 1908. So what happened in 1908? Well, they will tell you. Be that as it may, there is evidence that the establishment of the kingdom in Palestine will probably be in 1925. Notice this, 10 years later than we once calculated. The 70 Jubilees, reckoned as 50 years each, expire in October of 1975.
25.
Sorry, yes, 1925. Genesis 15, and that's the chapter, by the way, about Abraham and his dark vision. Remember the 400 years of of them being in a foreign land, etc. Genesis 15, read connectedly, indicates that Abraham's vision as to when he would receive the kingdom was not granted until 10 years after the covenant was made, or 2035 BC. Now that's not the date they believe today for all of this. It's about a century out. The ages of the animals offered, apparently they're talking about the animal sacrifices that Abraham was told that were going to be offered on. Well, he did do it, right? He did do it and then fell into a trance, remember? The ages of the animals offered aggregated 11 years, which applied prophetically on the scale of a year for a day equal 3,960 years. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
and I thought I'd studied this stuff before. But anyway, it's an interesting calculation that I didn't know anything about. The length of the time from the date of the visions to AD 1925.
I think it just proves they've always been talking nonsense here.
And that's a quote, by the way, or a reference to the Watchtower of 1907. But even the calculation is wrong based on the numbers that are here, because they seem to have forgotten about the so-called 0 year. They didn't notice until at least deep into Rutherford's time that there was no 0 year. So even the calculation is wrong. It seems conclusive that the hour of nominal Zion's travail is fixed for the Passover of 1918. So that's pretty precise. That will be 7 years prior to 1925. At that time, there is every reason to believe the fallen angels will invade the minds of many of the nominal church people, driving them to exceedingly unwise conduct and leading to their destruction at the hands of the enraged masses, who will later be dragged to the same fate. Now that comports with the rest of the finished mystery, where they think that Christendom's going to go down in 1918, and then there'll be worldwide anarchy before Armageddon comes right on after the end of that destruction in 1918. Of course, the opposite happened, right? 1918 brings an end to the war, and no Armageddon. So where am I?
You want me to continue?
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired.
The great war now raging is most certainly the work of evil spirits, and the Kaiser is not the only clever ruler who has been deceived by evil spirits, as history will sometime show. If our reasoning is correct, we inquire whether there was any indication of a move on Satan's part 7 years prior to 1915, showing that he expected the restraints to be removed from the evil spirits at that time. And we answer that there was something very definite indicated at that time. In the vow advised by Pastor Russell in that year, which we talked about in a previous video, and in the experiences of many for and against it, it is plain that the enemy then attempted to come in like a flood, but was held back, restrained until the sealing work is done. After the demons have been turned loose on the swine class,
What?
that's the first time I've heard of them, but
The
he
swine
doesn't
class.
say who they are, we shall see what happens. Those now fearful that they might learn something will be terror-stricken then for a different reason.
Since we haven't done research on the swine class, we have to assume we're talking about demon possession here, and the man whose demons went into the swine.
Yeah, it could be, because the vow thing seemed to be connected to the occult and But all these expressions of certitude from them, no doubt, it seems conclusive. Every reason to believe, if our reasoning is correct. Indication, definite. I mean, they use these kinds of expressions all the way through, and yet they started with Satan being a diligent student of time prophecy, but not having the Holy Spirit, so he gets it wrong. Well, doesn't this just prove That they don't have the Holy Spirit?
Neither Russell
'Cause all of
nor
it's
the
wrong.
writers of the Finished Mystery have the Holy Spirit.
No.
The Kaiser is possessed of the devils, but we're not.
Yeah.
But we might be attacked by the devils. It seems to be assuming that that attack is going to be on from 1918 onwards, particularly.
Yeah, I think this is proof that they did not have the Holy Spirit.
So this is just insanity. I mean, the link between 1908 and 1915, if I ever knew it, I've completely forgotten before we just read this.
The calculations.
And the calculations about Abraham and the animals and the parallels and the jubilees. Well, they've dropped almost all of this except 1914.
And it's an arbitrary thing anyways, you decide that's the one you're going to use, and then you calculate, make all these silly calculations.
So how do you know for sure that Russell and his followers did not have the Holy Spirit? Well,
This book is a good indicator.
yeah, and the fact that you've concluded, quite rightly, that Satan is interested in prophecy, but you're more interested in prophecy.
Yeah.
Because if he's in the churches, he's not doing a very good job of getting them interested in prophecy. For the most part, the churches are not interested in prophecy like you or in some of the cults are. There are exceptions. Dispensationalists are very interested in prophecy, but they're a very small number were a very small number until very recently, because the churches have been for a long time way more cautious than you have.
Yeah.
And that's an indication of the presence of the Holy Spirit in them, because the Spirit is in control of the prophet. Whereas if this guy and this organization are the prophet, the only one God's using, then the Spirit's not in control.
Mm-hmm.
We're told, though, in 1 Corinthians 14, that Paul says that that's the case. In any congregation where the Spirit is really present, self-control is evidence. There's no self-control here, is there?
There's embarrassment after embarrassment.
Yeah, and it continues.
Mm-hmm.
It continues.
Yeah.
What's the link?
We'll link to a video we did, the 1914 cover-up, because even what witnesses view now as their great understanding of 1914 has changed from what Russell believed about
That's
that
right.
date.
And the part that hit the hardest for you especially, but also to me, was that Russell, while he's still alive, took the time in 1915 to re-edit the 1914 prophecies. The evidence of that is in this first video, but also in the whole playlist, because this is just one of several dealing with the 1914 cover-up, which took place even while Russell was still alive. So check this video out, and then go to the playlist if you can. Have Jehovah's Witnesses ever been God's organization? See you soon.
Bye.